it's a new situation. You got to treat it like it's a new partner. And so here's what happens to a lot of you guys who are trying to navigate this sort of these situations. Now, here's the second thing is your pickup and game skills. Now, let's think about that for a second. Why does that matter? To know each other, you have history or you used to date or whatever. No. It's a new situation. You got to treat it like it's a new partner. And so here's what happens to a lot of you guys who are trying to navigate this sort of these situations. A lot of you guys fell into those relationships to begin with. You did some things right, some things wrong. You really don't know what the hell you did. And you found yourself with this chick, right? That's how it happens for probably most of you dudes. You think you're doing something, but a lot of you guys are just, I don't know, it just happens. It just kind of happens. And then that's how you get a scarcity mindset too, because it's like you don't have any control. You don't feel like you have any control. It's like, your dry spell. You might get a date here, you might get a date there. But it seems to be no predictability in what's going on in your dating life. And that's just because your skills are not good. You can't go out and predictably attract women and get them on dates. And so that's a thing that harms you. It makes you think in a scarcity, when these sort of that girl you went on a couple dates with drifts off because her ex-boyfriend came back to town or whatever happened. You know what I mean? Like it's like you have the scarcity and you take those things a little bit more to heart, because you just don't have the control. You have more control over your dating life and your success, the more skills you have. And some of you guys have been in a relationship 5-10 years. Now you want in maybe, right? And then you want to reattract somebody. Well, your dating skills, you start with dating skills. You start with seduction skills. You start with the beginning of the thing, which is to be attractive, be an authority figure, meaning you're leading the interaction as the man. She feels good about following that interaction. You set dates, times, get out, and you start doing stuff, having a good time, right? You leading, her following. She's complying, you are leading, right? Both of you are happy. Things are escalating. Attraction and desire is escalating, and it keeps going. That is the beginning of the dating process. That is exactly what you have to do to reattract somebody. You can't go back in. You can't go into it wanting to talk about what happened during a breakup or how come you ghosted me or hey, what, and rehashing all that old stuff. That old stuff didn't work. That is dead now. It's not to say like if you were in a serious relationship that you wouldn't eventually talk about those things, but that would be after quite a few times of some really great sex and reconnection. That's not the thing that you start with. A lot of guys want to start with getting closure and having some big to do or talk. Like you're going to talk your way into her vagina and into her, into her heart. If I just tell her I understand what happened and I'm a good person and I'm different. And then that's another thing you guys like, I got to show her I'm different. Like you have to do what you need to do is just show up and have fun and take her out like she's a brand new girl. All right. And so a lot of people will talk about SMV, just work on yourself so you can get pussy, right? Like whatever. It's like, you're not working on pussy, you're working on yourself so you can get pussy. I mean, yourself. It's like, it's this thing, right? But don't work on game though. You're not working on yourself. You need to work on yourself to get the pussy, not actually, interacting, having good conversations, being good in bed. I don't know, the things that might actually make her want to go on another date with you. Like what? That's so weird. But it is true though. You do work on yourself. You do level. I mean, obviously your value as a man is gonna indicate the level of experiences you have both with women and without women. So that's what you work on, of course. But you don't work on that so you can get a girl, you work on that for you. If you're working on yourself to try to get somebody back, you're not really working on yourself as much as you're working on just trying to convince somebody of something. And you're never going to argue or convince somebody of something. If you, is that your framework, you will show up as the one down in that situation. There's a book. I forgot the title off the top of my head. Good friend suggested it. It's written in the 80s, I think, maybe early 90s on counseling. And they understood the push pull dynamic, and the language was being the one up or the one down, you know, and the one down is the person who wants the other person more. And we know that women are designed on an evolutionary level that if she feels like the guy wants her more than she wants him, that sends up danger signals that he's not genetically viable for mating, as or at least is not as much as she could, not as good as somebody else that she could get. And it sends the wrong signals of her not being attracted. Okay. So you show up as the one down when you're trying to prove anything. If you're just like, I got to show her I'm different. Maybe you screwed up in the relationship. All right. That happens. Maybe you were a dickhead. We're Men are dickheads. We're dickheads all the time. I've definitely been a dickhead before. Right. Okay. So you were a dickhead, and being a dickhead got you broken up with, and now you feel bad about it. And now you want to prove to her that you're a good man. Like, stop it. All right. What you're gonna do instead is just be different. Okay. Just be the new version of you, and then have fun as the new version of you. Okay. And so that's all you're going to do. Let her figure out you're different. And if she doesn't, her loss, man. You got to be willing to cut those ties.